Could I ask everyone to take their seats, please? We're about to begin. Thank you. Please take your seats. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Eureka at Sky City, Mumbai. Well, tonight we have Miss World's special night because we're genuinely touched by the global outpouring of love and the wishes and good wishes on our social media platforms. You inspire us to provide you with live coverage of our events so that you can catch all the action, like today's Beauty with a Purpose Challenge Finals. And we're live on YouTube, so stay tuned. Now, in the run-up to the Miss World Festival, there have been many events and challenges, like the sports and talent rounds. But the Beauty with a Purpose Challenge is the very essence of the Miss World Festival. Each Miss World contestant fervently champions a cause close to their heart. And tonight, they will stand before you, not merely as ambassadors of beauty, but as agents of change. Just over a week ago, 113 contestants delivered heartfelt appeals on diverse issues. These ranged from the rehabilitation of child rape survivors and support for single mothers, to preserving our oceans and raising awareness about children's education and women's rights. It was undoubtedly a challenging task for the judges to make their selections, but after much deliberation, they have chosen tonight's semi-finalists, who will now talk about their causes and will be showcasing their cause with a video highlighting their work. So, our first Beauty with a Purpose semi-finalist is Indonesia.
Bunga has become a victim of her own uncle's sexual abuse when she was just 5 years old. In Jakarta today, Bunga along with her mother seek for justice.
Ini yang melakukan paman tirinya. Ini kejadian bukannya sekali dua kali, udah sering.
While the path they tread grows increasingly heavy, this precious little soul must also face her traumatic past.
Perilakunya juga ngomong sendiri, nangis sendiri, emosi sendiri, marah-marah sendiri. Dia nggak bisa sekolah selama setahun lebih. Dia nggak bisa keluar rumah, nggak bisa bermain dengan anak-anak lain.
I encourage and accompany her to take the essential psychological support she needs. Mawar, a deaf and mute girl, experienced sexual abuse at the age of 15. This painful incident involved her very own cousin. This even led to Mawar becoming pregnant, and sadly her pregnancy went undetected even by herself until she ultimately had a miscarriage. Living in a quiet village in Panimbang, Pandeglang, Banten, Mawar may not have the gift of speech and is not proficient in using sign language. But her unwavering spirit to have a voice continues to burn bright. In response to Maur's need, we've reached out Mr. Wahyudin, a sign language specialist, fostering not only improved family communication, but also empower her to find her voice.
Speak up, even when your voice tremble. Walaupun suara kalian bergetar atau kecil, tapi kalian tetap harus speak up.
From these many cases, there's a huge calling inside me to initiate a movement for survivors of sexual abuse to be able to speak up for themselves, speaking for justice, and embark on the path towards healing and recovery. I name this movement Break the Silence. I have been traveling across different cities in Indonesia, raising awareness, encouraging speaking up, and providing education as an act of prevention. And to help victims on its recovery process, nurturing the flicker of hope, igniting the spark of resilience to help them find inner peace and pursue personal growth to help them become the best version of themselves. The Ministry of Women's Empowerment and Child Protection also support my campaign movement. And one of the solutions my campaign provides is through training for trainers for hundreds of prospective volunteers against child sexual abuse, both in cities and various regions.
Miss Audrey bisa menjadi tempat untuk membuka awareness bagi anak-anak kita yang mengalami kekerasan itu sangat membantu kami dalam sisi pemerintahan untuk memberikan layanan terbaik.
Meanwhile, Bunga Mother's effort to persistently raise her voice have yielded results. The judge imposed an 8-year sentence on the perpetrator. This is not the end. More and more will dare to speak up. This fight will resonate even louder, especially when you take part in this movement. Let's together break these vicious cycles of sexual abuse to bring love in the midst of hatred, hope in the midst of disparity, and light in the midst of darkness.
Wow, well done. Please welcome Audrey Vanessa from Indonesia. Now, Audrey, obviously we've just seen your presentation, and so this evening you've got a book. I believe you've moved on since your presentation.
Yes, so thank you so much, Steve, before that. Thank you so much for choosing me as one of the finalists of Beauty with a Purpose. I know that every one of us has our own callings in life, and I have been asking God, the purpose, what's my purpose in this earth, in this world? And I have been searching these callings for my entire life. And I know one thing for sure, that God has led me towards this path to bring hope for the hopeless, to be the voice of the voiceless. And so I hope that through my project, Beauty with a Purpose, it will resonate even louder. It can continue not only for Indonesia, but I can collaborate with every one of you here so that everyone can bring their purpose in their life. And Steve, this is also one of the project. It's the after. So on the video, we have been talking about the prevention of how we can prevent this sexual abuse keep on happening to the children. But I want to do more and more. And so this book is for the recovery journey for the children. So thank you, Monesh. Thank you, everyone. And I have made it in English and in Bahasa. And I'm looking forward to do it on every language as well, so that we can all celebrate and we can all give it to every children around the world who needs our help. And I'll just show you a bit of the book, if that's all right.
Wow, this is going to be longer than your video presentation, I think. But it's fantastic. This is on the rehabilitation. You said there was some useful passages in there for me as well. I'm looking forward to seeing it. There we are. Wonderful.
So there's one chapter, it says, meet real life heroes. And so this is the story of all the survivors, so that everyone who reads this book knows that they're not alone in this journey. Many have walked this path before them. Many are standing with them, and many have successfully recovered. And this is one of the survivors. It's in the video. It's her drawing. And she said she wants to become a Miss Indonesia when she grows up, because she wants to do more and more for every children that also endures the same thing. And I hope through this we can all speak up and break the cycles of sexual abuse. Thank you so much.
And let's hope that that young lady one day is the entry for Indonesia for Miss World. Thank you very much, Audrey Vanessa, our first finalist, semi-finalist in the Beauty with a Purpose. Thank you. Well, our second semi-finalist is Nepal.
Envision yourself in a place where a generation passes by, fighting just for the fundamentals of life. A place that lingers in darkness, where every essence of survival becomes a relentless battle. Without any light, without any hope. Life sometimes is beautifully but brutally unfair. This was something I realized when I first embarked upon the hills of Upper Dangari. Children, denied by proper education, seek growth in the nearby cities. There, I found my ground zero of truth, seeing people live in a heap of generational darkness.
सबभन्दा गाह्रो नै यो बत्तीको खाँचो हुन्छ है बत्ती छैन भने त आँधेरोमा त हिँड्न सक्दैन बस्नै सक्दैन.
I figured out the aspect of life they had been missing out on. A life without light, without electricity. I felt that this was something that required a change. Therefore, I immediately got in touch with the Nepal Electricity Authority, where our executive director, Mr. Kulman Kissing, graciously helped us with matching the electrical routes and wiring. Every effort, from laying the foundation to constructing the walls, a mere dream of lighting up lives, now, in about 5 months, with our constant effort, we roped in the first poles where wires of life-changing reality were established.
Ready? Tali पड्काउने ल सबैजना. The 1, 2.
With generous assistance from our donors, we also found a way to restructure the school buildings and build a section for the teachers' quarter. However, this only was not enough. The locals barely had any rigid income sources, depriving them to pay for the electric bills and use the electricity to their advantage. To solve this, we neatly tapped into Upper Dangari's probable income sources. In collaboration with National Academy of Tourism and Hotel Management, a renowned hospitality college, a week-long training was conducted. This included activities ranging from cooking and cleaning to exploring hidden touristic spots. While the homestay benefited one segment of the community, there was a pressing need to address the other. Therefore, considering beekeeping as their pre-existing occupation, our friends from Dabur, Nepal joined hands in distributing honeybee grids accompanied by a one-day training session, thereby securing their hopes for a better tomorrow. Recognizing the importance of empowering women, we created an inclusive environment where they could develop and hone their abilities, fostering a sense of self-assurance and competence. Towards the end, the main binding factor came in when I built a community hall with a built-in washroom where trainings, events for homestay guests, refreshments, and ideas could be sheltered under one roof. There is still so much yet to be done. We definitely brought about surges of change, but now we hope for a revolution to begin.
There we are. Please welcome to the stage from Nepal, Priyanka Joshi. There we are, Priyanka. Wow, that's some project. Many people involved.
We've got a team of 15, but this project has my heart, and it has all the people of Upardangari. So everybody involved are the dearest and nearest to us. I wouldn't call many, but the people who matter are in it.
And how long have you been doing this project?
We've actually been doing this for more than 1.5 years. The more extensive time we got, the more we improved on the matters and the skill buildings of the project. So I would say I give it my 1.5 years, but it will stay with me forever, Steve.
Oh, that's great. And I asked you backstage, what would you most like to give as a message? And really, rather beautifully, you said the message was actually for the people back home that were helping you.
The message is not just for the people that were helping me, but the message is also for the people whose life we've touched. I tell them that no dream is too small because we started with an ambition, we started with an idea, but it conceived into transformation and changes that has really improved an entire community. So the message is to the people of Nepal that we've come to the stage of Miss World and we can go beyond this stage and touch lives globally too. We did it with one community. Now the outreach of our project is to come and model our projects into other communities of our entire globe.
Congratulations on a great project. Priyanka Joshi, Nepal. Well, our third project comes from Turkey.
Today, I stand before you not only as Miss Turkey, but as a believer in the power of compassion and unity, especially in the face of adversity. In this pursuit, I have dedicated my time as a volunteer and ambassador to various charitable organizations that hold a special place in my heart. Cancer survivor women, refugee children, people with Down syndrome, and homeless people, and stray animals. I have worked with diverse groups, gaining a broad perspective on the varying needs within our society. Collaborating with associations, I have had the honor of using my skills to design play and educational spaces for children undergoing cancer treatment in hospitals. This endeavor is particularly close to my heart as it involves creating safe havens for children who spend months within hospital walls, striving to complete their treatment journeys. It goes beyond the physical design of the spaces. It is about recognizing the significance of their psychological well-being during this challenging period. Recently, Turkey has faced significant challenges, including hosting the world's largest refugee population and grappling with devastating natural disasters. 2 earthquakes, spanning 11 cities and affecting 13 million people, resulted in a tragic loss of over 50,000 lives. As Miss Turkey, I took immediate action in 6 affected cities, providing psychological assistance to children and collaborating with organizations such as the Red Cross and Red Crescent. One poignant story emerged from the rubble. Injured children, separated from their parents, were transported to hospitals in neighboring cities. I accompanied them, offering comfort and support in their solitude, turning their trauma into a journey of hope. For those who completed treatment, workshops aimed at their psychological and social development were organized. Women face immense difficulties in the early days, with limited hygiene materials available. Collaborating with charities, we identified their needs and delivered essential supplies. Craft and psychological support workshops aimed at reintegrating them into social life followed, showcasing the strength and courage of resilient women. Beyond these efforts, we organized festive days for children in 10 cities, reminding them of the joys of childhood. The impact of these activities, visible through the smiles and the joy in their eyes, underscored the potential we unlocked when we come together to support one another. One project that epitomizes this solidarity is the Yuva Project, where, as an architect, I had the privilege to contribute. Yuva, meaning home in Turkish, is more than just structures. It symbolizes family, sustainability, and the belief that everyone deserves a place to call home. Crafted with utmost respect for nature and humanity with zero waste, these structures offer hope to those who have lost everything. They serve not only as homes, but also as educational spaces, fostering healing for children traumatized by earthquakes. As a passionate advocate of sustainable architecture, my goal is to extend the reach of the Yuva Project to earthquake-prone regions worldwide. But beyond building structures, it is about building communities, nurturing relationships, and healing trauma. We have also designed furniture and educational materials in earthquake-prone regions. Driven by our zero waste and sustainability mission, the furniture crafted in the Atelier Koru is tailored to specific requirements of earthquake-affected areas. As we rebuild our communities and lives, let us be reminded of the power of giving back. And let us never forget that everyone deserves a place to call home. Thank you.
Congratulations to Nursena from Turkey. There we are. Let's hear it for Nursena. Please come to the stage. Now, Nursena, I'm going to do it so you can speak with a lovely clear shot of everybody of the room. But you kind of feel this project wasn't your choice, but rather the project found you. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. To be honest, it didn't start as an idea of a project because I was feeling like it is my duty as a responsible citizen because those people were my family, my friends, my relatives. I have a friend who stayed under the rubble 10 days and then rescued from organizations such as Red Cross and Red Crescent. I'm so happy to be able to collaborate with them. My own family, my own relatives, my grandparents are still living in the 10 cities, so it is so hard for me to witness their struggles, and I see the struggle in the first hand, so I'm so happy to be able to collaborate and contribute.
And there's one other thing as well, that I know that you believe it's sent from above, because in doing what you're doing, what is your training? Tell us a bit about that, how that's helped you for your education.
Yeah, I'm an architect, so we are creating educational spaces, safe shelters for those people who were affected by the earthquake. So I'm so happy to be able to contribute, because I'm a strong believer the power of sustainable architecture, and we are creating those structures with zero waste. So yeah, I'm so grateful and happy for that.
Well done. Norsena from Turkey. Right, our next semi-finalist is the Czech Republic.
My story begins in 2020 when I visited Tanzania, the country where I met this extraordinary family of 5. The day in Tanzania begins early in the morning as the parents, Darweshi and Amina, wake up to start their day. They live in a small, dilapidated house with their 3 children. Darweshi, the father, works in agriculture as a farmer. He often struggles to find consistent work, which further adds to their financial difficulties. The family's meals mainly consist of inexpensive staples like maize, beans, and rice. Nutritious foods like fruits, vegetables, and meat are rare luxuries that they can't afford on a regular basis. The children spend their days helping their parents with work or doing odd jobs in the neighborhood to earn some extra money. They do their best to contribute to the family's income, which means they miss out on a formal education. Despite their financial hardships, they strive to create a loving and a supportive environment for their children, emphasizing the value of education and the importance of hard work. Walking through everyday life with a big smiles on their faces, deeply appreciating all of the small and beautiful things around them. This is also the reason why I fell in love with the people and decided to stay and take some steps to fulfill the children's dreams of quality education for their future. Tanzania has significantly expanded school enrollment in recent years, especially among girls. However, 3.2 million children aged 7 to 17 are out of school, of which 1.2 million have never attended. The net secondary enrollment rate is only 27%. And that's why I joined an initiative where we fight together for families and children like these. I believe that education is a fundamental right that every child deserves, regardless of their background or circumstances. However, access to education still remains a challenge for many children, especially in these rural areas. That's why, in Santa Foundation, we decided to start with a school construction to be able to provide quality education for the children. Step by step, day by day, our school started to grow. In July 2022, we opened a completely new, fully equipped facility where we can guide many children to a brighter future through our educational programs and English classes. The cost to study English in language centers in cities or to hire tutors is not affordable to people in difficult circumstances. In the school, we developed the free English class project with 4 programs in Tanzania: Direct English Teaching Program, Volunteer Exchange Program, Lunch Service Program, and Water Management Program. With Volunteer Exchange Program, we created a system where we accept international volunteers, and with that, I've become one of the international volunteers teaching at the school myself. At the Lunch Service Program at school, we currently provide meals for 320 students. With the Water Management Program, we provide clean water to the school by pumping water from the well to the tanks every week. As before this program, the students were using dirty water from a small river which was located near the school. With this completed mission, I finally felt my purpose in life. And because education became my passion, I decided to start a new educational project in the Czech Republic. It was a dream of mine to start my foundation in my homeland. Peško Foundation focuses on providing several educational programs, not only for children, but also for mentally disabled people. With the power and visibility of the Miss Czech Republic, I have organized fundraising events to support these activities. In the foundation, we focus on educational classes to empower young teens to see their potential through self and emotional awareness, to reach their personal goals, and to find their purpose in life. Especially with disabled people who may feel left behind, it is very important to feel their sense of purpose, because I believe that purpose is the happiness and meaning of our lives. Thanks to the collected money, craftsmanship classes, mental health and self and emotional awareness classes are being provided in our foundation. Helping one person may not change the world, but it can change the world of one person forever.
Congratulations, Christina, from the Czech Republic.
Good evening.
All right, Christina, I'm going to stand a bit further away because you're a bit taller than me. But I wanted just for you to explain to the audience here why you chose Tanzania for the project.
The reason why I've chose Tanzania is very simple. As you maybe know, I'm a model and I travel the world. And in 2020, I had a photo shoot in Tanzania. And because I connected with the local community in there, I decided to join Sonta Foundation, where we started with this project. And also I wanted to mention, I've been doing modeling for a very long time, but I just didn't feel the purpose in life. That's why I'm so happy I'm standing here at Miss World, because I know it's not only about appearance, but also about what we do as a girls. And I just love that we have the platform to talk about important things, and that's why I also found my purpose in education and providing quality education, not only to children, but also to disabled people and some other people in difficult circumstances.
That's fantastic. And one last postscript. You can tell me, how many children have you now educated through your program?
At the moment, it's 320 children.
320 children. Congratulations, Czech Republic, Christina. Well done, Christina. Thank you. Our next semi-finalist comes from Ukraine.
I'm Sophie, I'm 19 years old, and I'm Miss Ukraine 2023. Today, I want to share with you how I felt true strength by finding light within my heart. It happened to me in the darkest hour.
On February 24, 2022, a terrible war hit my homeland, Ukraine.
Leaving ruins of what once was a happy life. Thousands lost homes to missile strikes. Streets, villages, and whole cities lay in ruins. Nature devastated, with wounds lasting decades. The pain touched each of us. I was already involved in charity, but the war made me realize I could do more. Ukrainian volunteers, incredible warriors of goodness, inspired me. So I got official volunteer status to fully help children affected by war, mothers without homes, and children. As an artist, I understand the healing power of art. That's why I started art therapy with children, to heal their emotional wounds. I organized a charity auction, and funds from selling the painting Lost Childhood supported the MRIA, Educational and Rehabilitation Center for Children in Lviv, which I oversee. I provided art supplies and other gifts to children, conducting a painting workshop on plaster figures. The new owner of the paintings, Eyes of Sorrow, a Japanese lover of contemporary art, was moved to tears. He said he wants every child in the world to live in peace and dream. All funds were donated to the organization, Frontline Medics, for our hospital workers. The exact number of casualties is still difficult to determine. Of course, among them are children who lost their families and suffered terrible injuries. But the most painful thing is to see the loss of light in the eyes of children whose childhood was stolen by war. For the new year, I organized a celebration for the young patients at the Ahmedabad Children's Hospital. Some of them are undergoing rehabilitation or treatment due to war-related injuries.
In Ahmedabad, I had an incredible opportunity to meet Marina, who bravely survived the loss of a leg and now uses a prosthesis.
I was incredibly happy to see a spark in her eyes. Seeing this, I understood what is my main mission: to kindle and nurture the light in children's hearts. Remember, our hearts are flames that light up the darkness. Look around and become a light for those who need help. This is what I strive for. This is why I aim for victory in this world. To become the fire of invincible love that unites the world.
Please welcome Sofia from Ukraine. Now, Sofia, one of the things that you always talk about the resilience of the children. Tell us a little bit more about this.
Yes, hi everyone. I will say again, my name is Sophie and I'm from Ukraine. Before, I never really said so often where I'm from, but right now I feel so much strength every time I say where I'm from. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit emotional. Just because every time I see this video, I remember like little girls, little boys. When I was in Ahmedabad, I had the chance to talk with them a lot. And those are young patients, usually from occupied territories. I remember one child is running around and she's playing and she's coming to me and she's like, I love your dress, you look like a princess. And she's saying, oh, but you know what? My mom and dad died. And she's saying it so casually. Like it was yesterday's day. Like she's saying it so casually, despite I can see so much pain in her eyes. So if we're talking about the resilience, it's Ukrainian kids.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can see how it affects you. But also the fact that you've had the courage to stand up and do something about it. This is why we're so proud of you. Congratulations, Ukraine. Sofia from Ukraine. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, how much these projects mean to our contestants. They put their heart and soul into their projects, and we're very lucky to be able to share this with them this evening. Well, we're now going to move to the continent of Africa, and our next project is from Botswana.
I'm often asked what beauty with a purpose means to me. And I think it's one's ability to use their passion, purpose, life experiences, and story to change the lives of those around them. And this is my story, the story of the Genesis. I am a girl from a very small village, and I've lived a life which most people would deem to be average. But from my eyes growing up, I had what I consider to be the greatest support system a girl could ever ask for. I had two amazing and present parents and a community that supported my endeavors. My parents not only provided for my basic needs, but they also validated my beauty and promoted my creative side. And this is what has led me into the all-rounded person that I am. It really breaks my heart to know and see and think of the possibility that most of children growing up in poverty-stricken communities will never grow up to have fulfilling lives simply because of that background. All I really long for is for them to have an environment that nurtures their growth and promotes their health to a point where they can have a kickstart in life. This is the essence of the Genesis. To address the needs of these poverty-stricken communities, the Genesis Project runs 2 programs, one for children and one for parents. The developmental program for parents equips them with the necessary skills and behavioral attributes of how to raise their children in a conducive and nurturing environment. In facilitating this program, I am joined by a team of a teacher, a psychologist, a social welfare representative, and a doctor.
Education for children will not be complete without parents' input. Parents are there to guide, to support and to mentor children and to work with the teachers. Usually children are not really given a very good foundation, and there isn't that guidance that we see when children are staying with their parents in urban areas. There is really a challenge, and there was a need for Ms. Botswana to come up with this initiative. I think it will go a long way to change the mindset of the rural communities.
It is also helpful because it encourages parents to have a relationship and a connection with their children.
It is very important to sensitize the community because as time goes on, we do see a lot of cases, and we've realized that these cases are caused by basic things that happen in the household.
The primary objective of the Genesis Project is to raise children who grow into emotionally, physically, mentally, and cognitively healthy individuals in society. And this objective would not be fulfilled if we did not work with children too.
This part of the project implements educational activities from a predominantly artistic perspective, where children are introduced to artistry, crafts, musical instruments, career and entrepreneurship education, self-validation, games, and fun, to ultimately get them to be open to a life outside academics. The program opens up the minds of these children and increases their exposure to the outside world and opportunities. It reshapes that perspective by adding value to their cognitive development and planting a seed that they will grow with. This will ultimately curb social ills which are a result of coming from an economically disadvantaged background.
In rural communities, there is a problem of motivation. Children are not inspired because they don't see anybody in the community who has succeeded through education. Ms. Botswana has succeeded through education and was involved in co-curricular activities. As a living example, she was there to inspire them.
Over and above executing the Genesis Project, I have been committed to partnering with various organizations across the country in their philanthropic work. Some of the NGOs that I've been working with include SOS, Masiela Trust Fund, as well as the biggest public health center in the country, Princess Marina Hospital.
I'm proud to say that the impact that has been experienced by these communities will not be short-lived, but will rather be sustained for years and years to come, as I have now registered the Lesego Chombo Foundation, which will now house our beloved Genesis Project and continue to partner with various charitable organizations across the globe. And this is what I represent, a beacon of sustainable impact.
Please welcome Lesego from Botswana. All right. Oh, we're gonna have a close up. If you could maybe go towards the center of the stage. Lesego, how far do you think you can take this project? If you'd like to tell everybody.
Good evening, everyone. I am feeling very emotional, so please pardon me. This opportunity is very amazing for me, and I want this to be a lifelong opportunity for poverty-stricken communities. I want it to be sustainable because the goal is not just to impact them on a daily basis, but is to create a culture and a norm where children are raised in a very nurturing environment. So it's not something that I could say is just educational. It's not something that I could say is just impactful for a very short period of time. But the point is to create a culture and a norm worldwide where we can say that it's normal to come from a conducive environment. It's normal to have a present father. It's normal to have food on the table and a roof over your head, because that's something that I've had. And I grew up in a world where it's foreign to say that I come from a nurturing environment. And I truly desire for every child to have a kickstart in life.
Thank you very much, Kotego. Thank you from Botswana. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Our next project comes from Tanzania.
Inside the delivery room, this is the sound you want to hear. It means that the baby can breathe. Everyone born in this world shares a common experience. We all start life from a mother's womb into a mother's arms. Women, the foundations of our society, bravely take on this role. In Tanzania, a country with rich cultures and beautiful landscapes, the journey of becoming a mother is often overshadowed by the high risk of death for both the mother and her child. Sadly, maternal and child mortality happens to be a global crisis. As of 2021, the number of mothers dying in Tanzania was alarmingly high, with 556 deaths for every 100,000 babies born alive, indicating the dangers pregnant women face. Bleeding heavily after childbirth, also known as postpartum hemorrhage and eclampsia, is the primary indicator for these death rates, accompanied by shortage of well-trained birth attendants and difficulty reaching health facilities for women living in remote areas. As for young children, the risk was equally high, with 67 deaths for every 1,000 babies born alive. Poverty, malnutrition, and preventable diseases like malaria and pneumonia make the situation worse. 5 years ago, a cherished family friend lost her baby in the 8th month of pregnancy, leaving our family in so much pain and sorrow, a heartbreaking event that highlighted the intensity of this crisis. This was the driving force and starting point of my Beauty with a Purpose project on maternal and child health. When I started this project, the main aim was to reduce the number of women and children dying due to pregnancy-related issues, as well as to improve the maternal and child health of our community in general. I visited a number of hospitals across the country to assess the maternal and child health situation, and that is when I saw the true hardships that pregnant women face, especially in rural areas of Tanzania. At Mkomainda Hospital, located in Mtwara region, women in labor have to travel long distances just to reach the hospital, since ambulances are very scarce. And still, they have to walk a long way from the gate to the maternity ward due to lack of wheelchairs. Even after all the struggle, if they are lucky enough to deliver their babies safely, they are still faced with unpredictable circumstances like postpartum hemorrhage, preeclampsia, and anemia in babies. I witnessed this firsthand in the hospital, where a mother delivered her child, but they were not allowed to leave the hospital because the newborn received blood transfusion. Since the hospital was short of blood supply, they had to find a replacement for the blood that they received for them to be discharged. Lucky enough, together with some of my team members, we were suitable donors and we were able to help to replace it. Only then was she allowed to go home. The whole experience later on pushed me to name my Beauty with a Purpose project as My Blood, My Generation. This shows how shortage of blood in hospitals is a serious case in the rural areas of Tanzania, considering postpartum hemorrhage is the leading cause of maternal death globally. You can see how women in rural areas of Tanzania are at high risk of dying in the process of giving birth. Nationwide, I decided to launch a blood donation campaign, not only to convince people to donate blood, but also adopt it as a culture which is safe and free from any danger. Leading by example, I myself or donated blood 4 times within my reigning year. By doing this, I have been able to reassure the public that there is no harm in donating blood, but rather it's an act of heroism. To make the campaign more impactful, we had to take it to places with high movement of people like markets, universities, bus stops, big events, and even in larger stadiums. Through this, we collected more than 10,000 units of blood, capable of saving more than 30,000 lives, including those of children with severe anemia and pregnant women affected by severe loss of blood during delivery. For the recognition of my efforts, I was appointed by the National Blood Donation Center of Tanzania as National Blood Donation Ambassador and face of the movement to promote voluntary blood donation for maternal and child health care. This is just the beginning. I hope to keep saving lives of mothers and their children, as well as their next generations, through my initiative and through inspiring other people to do the same. My blood, my generation.
Please welcome Halima from Tanzania. Wow, Halima, very impressive film. But what inspired you to start this program?
Well, like I said in the video, 5 years ago, I said it as a close family member, but she was more like a sister to me. She was pregnant, and on the 8th month of pregnancy, just 1 month before she gave birth, she lost her baby. And that is when I knew the connection that is between a mother and a child. And I knew that even if a child is not born, it's a life, and it can affect a person just as much as the death of a grown human being. And that was the cause of my starting of the project, My Blood, My Generation.
And what keeps you going now? What inspires you now to keep going?
Well, the video that you were showed just now, this was the one I submitted, but as Miss World gave us more time to do the project, I did more than just blood donation. I gave so many things to hospitals, but I met a woman. Her name was Salma, and I was just going to the spa to get my waxing done. But then she came to me and said, I am pregnant, I need help. My husband has abandoned me, and I need to go to the hospital just to give birth to my child. And she was also 8 months pregnant. I remembered my sister lost her baby just at that time, so I chose to help her. I took her to a hospital, and she was actually having brain problems too, so she was disabled. I took her to a hospital that helps disabled pregnant women, and she gave birth. That moment keeps me going up until today when I hold Salma's child in my hands. I am very proud of the work that I've been doing, and to me, saving one life, it might look just one step, but I believe this one child that I saved might come and save more than one child in the future, and that's why I call it My Blood, My Generation.
Well, let's hope, Halima, that you continue to save the lives of many mothers and babies to come. Congratulations, Halima from Tanzania. Right, our final project from Africa comes from Uganda.
My name is Hannah, and this is my story of how I've grown to inspire so many young girls in my home village. I come from a family of so many beautiful women and a man who happens to be my father. At the age of 2, tragedy happened to strike my family when we lost my mother to cancer. I come from a society that supports forced marriages. So when my mother died, everyone in the community thought that my sister's next plan was marriage. Little did people know that we had a father that would do anything to see us succeed. My dad was a herdsman. My father worked tirelessly to see that all my sisters and I got what to eat and also attained school. When I made 3 years old, my father proposed to me the idea of starting school. I was very excited because I would see my sisters every morning trek to school, and I wondered how it felt like to go to school. So the first day of my school wasn't that interesting because I walked for almost 15 kilometers from home to school. After school in the evening, we found a lot of visitors that had come to ask my sister's hand in marriage. My sister was just 12 years old. My dad got scared after receiving the news. My dad took my sister to a faraway school to save my sister from being married at a very young age. And that is the same thing he did for my fellow sisters. So many girls who would go to school. By the time we finished, most of the girls that I studied with in the same class were married. When my dad saw what was happening, my father yearned for a platform where he would speak against early childhood marriages and also advocate for education for the girls. I would see what my dad is doing in the society, preaching against early childhood marriages, because I admired my father so much. I loved the way he spoke to people. I loved the way he expressed himself, and I felt like I would want to be that person in future. When I finished school, the chance presented itself to me. After being crowned as Miss Uganda, I went back to my hometown, and most of the people were very happy for me and excited. But little did they know that their children would have even become the same thing, or even more, if they educated them. But most of the parents were like, they do not have a secondary school. Due to my continuous preaching and also requesting the parents to educate girls, we are launching the first ever secondary school in my home village, named Chinoni Secondary School.
Behind me is the land that was donated to us by the community members of Chinoni village in my home district, and this building is the first ever secondary school that was built in my home village. We are trying to make sure that we get a convenient place for students to study, because there's so many students who are not able to go as far as I went to get quality education. And this is how far we have reached with the building. We hope to continue to see better and quality education for our students in my home village in Chinoni, Nakaseke district.
Together with the Miss Uganda Foundation, we've also managed to launch career talks where we talk to most of the girls across the country, and we do classes that help them in so many things. We talk about menstrual hygiene and health. We talk about reproduction. We talk about self-esteem, confidence, and also advise them to stay in school in case they want to achieve anything higher. We give them sanitary towels, soap, knickers, and also show them how to use them. As a person who believes so much in talent development, I saw that most of the boys in my community were a bit idle because we were over-concentrating on the girls. We launched the first ever Hana Karima tournament where we get so many boys from different communities to come and play football, where the winner gets to win a prize. I must say that it has been an amazing journey for me working with the Miss Uganda Foundation, and also learning so much from lots of the girls I've been meeting. As a queen, this is the true beauty with a purpose.
Please welcome Hannah from Uganda. Wow, Hannah, a well-deserved ovation there. I think a lot of people won't realize just how personal this is to you and why you've started to be involved in this project. Perhaps you can explain.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Literally, I've been looking at my project backstage, and I was crying. A 7-year-old me wouldn't expect to see myself here, because I was worried about getting married at a very young age. But I had a very supportive dad who supported me to see that I acquire quality education. I believe so many parents can do that, to support a girl child, to see that they achieve quality education. And that is what I would want to see for all the girls, not only in Africa, but the world at large.
And of course, you actually, I think you lost your mother when you were very young. So your father had to take on that responsibility.
Yes, so many people actually think fathers do not care,
but had a very supportive dad that even after losing my mom at the age of 2, he fought so hard to be a mother and the father at the same age. We're literally 9 girls in a family, and everyone thought we were all going to get married because of the culture and the customs. But my father fought so hard, and he educated us. He always looked for platforms to speak for girls to be educated. And for me, I think that is the best thing each and every father can do for a girl child, because every girl deserves to achieve quality education. We need to have voices and speak for ourselves, just like Junior Molly has done for us. We appreciate you so much for giving all these girls a platform to come and champion for different advocates. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hannah from Uganda. And as you leave the stage, let's also put our hand together for Hannah's father for making such a difference in her life. Right, we have 2 presentations left, and we now move to the Americas and Caribbean. And the first of those presentations, and our next semi-finalist, Brazil.
My parents always taught me that we can all offer something good to people through small actions, words, or with big projects. Working as a volunteer, I was able to see up close the pain, the fear, the lack of opportunities, and lack of hope of many people.
As Miss Brazil, I became an ambassador of the fight against Hansen's disease, a disease so old and cruel, and which still affects so many people who face, in addition to disease, prejudice. In Brazil, there are 28,000 cases diagnosed per year, making it the second country with the most cases in the world, behind India only.
There is no transformation without action.
Alongside with several Mrs. and Misters, we raised 50,000 reais, combined with 20,000 reais contribution from Julia Morley. With these funds, we acquired and donated a vital device for diagnosing Hansen's disease, the electroneuromyography. Today, the device impacts hundreds in early diagnosis. Understand that there is no cure without access to diagnosis. A transformation without borders. At the global appeal of Hansen's disease at the Vatican, I interacted with affected individuals and world leaders. Together, we discussed solutions and public policies for the inclusion of these people in society. At that moment, I was received by Pope Francis, who listened about my actions in Brazil and worldwide. I also attended the Global Hansen's Disease Forum in India, where I reinforced the true meaning of beauty with a purpose. In that experience, I met a woman affected by the disease, and she said, "I never imagined seeing a beauty queen, a figure associated with beauty, talking about this cruel disease, which leaves consequences on the body and affects our self-esteem." Here this reinforces that we carry not only titles and crowns, but a significant responsibility to promote transformations. In 2023, the state of Amazonas faced the biggest river drought in the history of Amazon in 120 years. This caused the rivers to dry up to the point of preventing navigation and leave indigenous villages without food and water to drink. It was painful to see countless children going through hunger and thirst. With the Friends of the Kindle projects, a great chain of unity was created, and we began to take action. Started the campaign called SOS Riverside and Indigenous Communities, with the aim to reach distant and isolated places. We encountered children and families who hadn't eaten for days and didn't have access to clean water. this caused serious health problems, like different intestinal infections. After hard work, I can say that we did it. Almost 17 tons of food and 12,000 liters of mineral water were delivered to families. In addition to this work, there's a monthly commitment that has been carried out for 2 years by Friends of the Kingdom projects. We offer monthly distribution of 1.8 tons of proteins to families and 12 institutions for the elderly, children, and indigenous people of Amazonas. Currently, around 15,000 people received food support from our group. More than 30,000 kilos of food have already been donated.
Now, back to Amazon. In this place of resistance, I would like to make a global call for action to end hunger, poverty, inequality, Hansen's disease, and to protect the forest and the people who live in it. We still have time. You are my guest to join me in the fight to preserve our most precious asset, our environment.
Please welcome Letitia from Brazil. Wow, Letitia, we've seen you doing so much in that video, and I know there must be many things that you still want to do with your life, but you've had a very special honor, haven't you? You've been recognized very recently by a very important person. Tell us about that.
Good evening, Steve. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for choosing me and gave me this opportunity. I had a meeting with Pope Francis whilst I work as an ambassador of Hansen's disease, not only in my country, but also in the world. And this is something that makes me feel proud because I was there representing all the people who suffer prejudice, who are completely excluded for the society. Brazil is the second country with the most cases of Hansen's disease in the world. And not only that, I also had a meeting with the president of Brazil in the approval of the law that protects children who are completely separated from their parents because of Hansen's disease in the past.
Wow, that's fantastic. You've met the president, you've met the Pope. I'm trying to see who's next, but I was hoping I would be in that list, but unfortunately, I do know one thing, that in this world, Hansen's disease, as you know it, many people here may not know what you mean by Hansen's disease, so please tell them.
Exactly. I can say for you that Hansen's disease is leprosy in the past. So I think, you know, these people were excluded, these people don't have the opportunity to be included in society, to work, to study. So in the past, if you had Hansen's disease and you were completely separated from your family, you were excluded by the society.
But now you go out, I know all of the people, all the Miss Brazil candidates go out and you physically get involved with the people with leprosy. You bring them out into the community and you change their lives. Thank you, Letitia from Brazil.
Thank you so much.
Well, you've met 9 incredible candidates, and our final candidate is no exception. She is from Trinidad and Tobago.
Being Miss World Trinidad and Tobago has taught me that when the whole world is quiet, one voice becomes more powerful. I can be a voice for the voiceless, an advocate for change to help people struggling with mental illnesses. This platform gives me purpose and power to make a difference. Mental health is something that I struggled with personally, and it is still something that is uncomfortable to speak about in the world today. So how do we end this stigma? Well, it's through public education and awareness. It is my mission to make mental health a priority for all, to shatter the stigma attached to mental illness, and to ignite hope. This passion is what led me to create the Be Mindful podcast. This is a space where people can share their stories, seek help, get information, and learn that they are not alone in this struggle. This space was created with the generosity of experts from doctors, psychologists, therapists, advocates, and wellness instructors who offered their time to sit with me and discuss topics related to mental health and well-being. We garnered over 72,000 views across platforms collectively to date. It takes one voice to start the conversation, but it takes all of ours to continue it. By creating safe spaces in Trinidad and Tobago through school visits, workshops, and discussions around the importance of mental health, the Invisible Scars Project directly connects young people with the knowledge, tools, and assistance they need to overcome mental health problems. One of the leading causes for delayed mental health recovery is the lack of access to resources, so my project is counteracting that. To date, I have interacted with thousands of students at various schools and workshops to share my mental health story and create the dialogue needed to destigmatize the topic. I cannot stress enough how important early intervention is to reduce the likelihood of lifelong mental health disorders. And this is why it's important we focus on the children. The children are the future of our country, of our world, and no child can reach their fullest potential if they are carrying around unhealed, invisible scars. This is why I focused on reopening the Lesaiva Village Homework Center to create a support system for the children of my home community. I grew up in Lesaiva Village, and I experienced the benefits of the Homework Center firsthand as a child before its closure during the pandemic due to inadequate funding. Every child deserves access to equal opportunities for success despite their start in life, and mental well-being plays a key role in that mission. It was my honor to use part of my cash prize to invest into the refurbishing of the Homework Center because it directly assists with the children's academic goals and overall holistic development through tutoring, sports and leisure, summer camp, guest speaker workshops, and coaching. Children deserve a safe space in every community of the world. My grandfather, before passing, was greatly responsible for the original opening of the Homework Center many years ago. I am proud to say that today we have officially reopened the doors to the children of our community. We are working alongside ministers of our country to potentially have our Homework Center replicated in 220 other community centers throughout Trinidad and Tobago. I also created a children's book called Let's Talk About Feelings with the assistance of clinical psychologist Ahelia Ramdas. My goal is to reach the hearts and minds of children and assist them with communicating their emotions. When I was young and struggling with my mental health, I found it extremely difficult to express that I needed help because I didn't understand what I was feeling. So my book is teaching children the tools they need to speak up and resolve internal turmoil. Let's Talk About Feelings is available as both physical copies and an interactive ebook. I hope this can reach every child across the world. My project is working closely with community centers, schools, and ministries to ensure every child of Trinidad and Tobago can have access to mental health and well-being resources, including this book. The Invisible Scars Project also created a wellness campaign through a 5K wellness run and several aerobic burnouts throughout our country to promote the interconnection between physical health and mental health. The 5K Wellness Run was a partnership between Miss World Trinidad and Tobago and BAFA Sports. The slogan for this event was "Run one lap for yourself and the second lap for someone who you may or may not know struggling with their mental health." My goal is to make mental health and well-being a conversation in every home, school, institution, and community in Trinidad and Tobago, and eventually across the world. The Invisible Scars Project is creating hope through action.
There we have Ashe from Trinidad and Tobago. Here, come to the stage there. It seems a very comprehensive project that you have there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And how have the other contestants received all the work that you're doing?
Oh, it's been fantastic. Good evening, everyone. It's been fantastic, and also hearing the stories of some of my sisters who also face similar challenges. It's made me tear up a lot because it really takes a lot to stand on stage and to stand on this global platform and admit your vulnerabilities. So I appreciate them so much. They've inspired me even more.
Yes. Where do you go from here? Where do you take this forward now?
Well, I want to take it to the world because for me, this project is very personal to me. I remembered crying my eyes out at the peak of my depression and praying to God and saying, God, just give me a reason to live. Give me a reason to wake up every morning. I felt like I had no hope. I felt like I had no purpose. And 3 years after that prayer, I found my way on the Miss World stage and a semi-finalist with Beauty with a Purpose. So I found my purpose. And I'm so grateful to Miss World because you have no idea how much you've empowered me. And more importantly, you've empowered me to help empower people who are also silently battling this. So I appreciate you all so much.
You certainly did find your purpose. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
From Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to do, because we've now met all of our contestants, what I'm going to do, because I think it would be a good thing to do, to recognize all of our semi-finalists tonight and ask them to come back to the stage and just join us to receive your applause. Please welcome back Indonesia, Nepal, Turkey, Czech Republic, Ukraine, Botswana, Tanzania, Uganda, Brazil, and of course, Trinidad and Tobago. And I think these young ladies deserve a standing ovation. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for them. Well done, ladies. Thank you. And what I'm going to do is just to say to our viewers around the world that while all the judging takes place, we're going to be taking a break. So we're going to be leaving the live stream. When we return later and give the results, we'll be meeting the judges and telling you a lot more about what's happening this evening. But in the meantime, from our wonderful base here at the Eureka Sky City, good night.
you.